The year was 1924. The SS Watertown, a massive oil tanker, cut through the waves of the Pacific Ocean, her steel hull gleaming in the sunlight. To anyone watching from the shore, she looked like just another working ship. But for those on board, this voyage would become one of the most chilling sea legends in maritime history. James Courtney and Michael Meehan were ordinary crewmen, hard-working, loyal, and inseparable friends. They laughed over meals, sang sea shanties during long shifts, and had an unspoken bond that came from months spent battling storms and loneliness on the open ocean. But that December, fate had other plans. While cleaning out one of the ship's cargo tanks, a tragic accident occurred. The confined space, filled with dangerous fumes, became a death trap. By the time the alarm was raised, it was too late. Courtney and Meehan were gone. Their shipmates carried their bodies up to the deck in silence, the sound of the waves the only funeral hymn. At sea, there is no graveyard. The ocean claims her own. Wrapped in canvas and weighted down, their bodies were committed to the deep, a sailor's burial. The crew watched as the forms slipped beneath the waves, swallowed by the endless blue. The captain offered a brief prayer. Then, life on the ship was supposed to move on. But the next morning, everything changed. It was an ordinary day on the deck when a sailor glanced over the side and froze. There, in the rolling waves beside the ship, were faces. Two faces, pale and haunting, floating in the foam. They were unmistakable, the faces of Courtney and Meehan. The sailor's shout brought others running, and soon half the crew stood at the railing, staring in disbelief. The faces didn't sink. They didn't vanish. They moved with the ship, as if tethered to it, staring upward with a strange, glassy stillness. The sea seemed to cradle them, letting the water lap over their cheeks, but never pulling them under. Some men cursed and backed away. Others gripped the railing so tightly, their knuckles turned white. These were men hardened by storms and danger. But nothing in their lives had prepared them for this. As the hours passed, the faces never left. Wherever the SS Watertown went, they followed, sometimes directly beside the hull, sometimes drifting a little farther away, only to return again. At night, under the silver light of the moon, the faces seemed even more unreal, their pale forms glowing faintly against the dark waves. The captain tried to keep order, telling the men it was just an illusion, perhaps reflections or a trick of the water. But deep down, even he wasn't convinced. A photographer on board, skeptical of the whole affair, decided to capture the phenomenon. Leaning over the rail, he snapped multiple pictures of the waves beside the ship. When the film was developed back on land, only one photograph held something extraordinary. Two perfect faces, emerging from the sea. The expressions were calm yet unsettling, as if Courtney and Meehan were aware and watching. News of the photograph spread like wildfire. Some said it was proof of life after death. Others believed the men's spirits had been trapped at sea, bound to follow the vessel they had served on until the end. Skeptics called it a hoax, blaming smudges, reflections, or double exposures. But those who had stood on the SS Watertown's deck swore on their lives that what they saw was real. The photograph became one of the most famous ghost images in maritime history, grainy, eerie, and unforgettable. The SS Watertown continued to sail for years, but no one ever reported seeing the faces again. Some claimed the spirits had finally found peace. Others whispered They were simply waiting for the right ship to pass, so they could be seen once more. And even today, sailors tell the tale. They say if you find yourself alone on the deck of a tanker in the dead of night, look over the side. In the foam, in the swell of the waves, you just might see two faces staring back, silent, patient, and following you wherever you go. Because the ocean never forgets.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel for more interesting stories.